Hey, welcome. Today I'm presenting you two more results from my small weapon test in fighter vs fighter combat, the plasma cannon and the pulse laser. And finally, the results move from extremes into a bit more grounded region. How I tested together with the previous test results you can find in the videos linked in the video description below, so we can jump right to the interesting part. But to briefly summarize the test method, I tested once 19 Gladiuses against 16 Xenon-Ms with different weapons and compared them by the lost value of the destroyed ships. And after this I built fleets of equal cost with the different weapons and let them fight against the 16 Xenon-Ms. The plasma cannon shoot greenish bolts with a speed of 1229 meters per second at its target. With 4.1 kilometers, the plasma cannon has a relative high fire range compared to most other fighter weapons. When the plasma bolts hit their target, it can be quite devastating for the enemy craft, because of the extremely high damage per projectile of 1331 megajoule. The weapon cost of the MK1 version is one of the cheapest in the game, although the MK2 variant I would still consider as relative cheap. The pulse laser MK1 is also very cheap and is only topped by the MK1 plasma cannon, thermal disintegrator and Moon charger, while the MK2 version is already in the lower mid-price range. The pulse laser is one of my all-time favorites because its fast-moving blue projectiles, paired with its high fire rate, allow it to reliably hit targets. With a range of 3.1 kilometers and a projectile speed of 1147 meters per second, targets get hit in a fraction of a second, even at maximum fire range, after being locked up. And so they have nearly no time to react to evade the nearly continuous fire of the pulse laser. In my low attention mode test with equal fleet sizes of 19 Gladiuses against 16 Xenon-Ms, the blast mortar now faces competition from the plasma cannon. But still, with the killing speed of the MK2 plasma cannon with an average of 143 seconds versus 99 seconds of the MK2 blast mortar, the killing speed of the plasma cannon MK2 still lies in between the blast mortar MK1 and MK2. Although the MK1 plasma cannon could destroy all 16 Xenon-Ms in roughly about 5 minutes. On average, in each test, one plasma cannon Gladius was lost. So per destroyed Xenon-M, a total of 34,000 and 46,000 credits per destroyed Xenon-M was lost. With the pulse laser MK2, we have another weapon with which the 19 Gladiuses could beat the 16 Xenon-Ms in one try inside the 10-minute time frame in around 7.5 minutes. On average, 1.67 pulse laser MK1 Gladius and 2 MK2 Gladiuses were lost, and 4 and 13 Xenon-Ms, respectively, in each test. With this, on average, 235,000 and 130,000 credits were sacrificed per destroyed Xenon-M for the MK1 and MK2 versions, respectively. With this, both pulse laser variants settle in between the bolt repeater and beam emitter in low tension mode in this test scenario, where equal fleet sizes are used. With this, overall, the blast mortar MK2 is still the top choice if looked at low tension mode solely alone. In high tension mode, the plasma cannon follows the slowly establishing pattern of being good in low tension, but underwhelming in high tension mode, in fighter vs fighter combat. Here in one try the MK2 plasma cannons could beat the 16 Xenon-Ms with 12-0, and in the other two tests they lost with 0-13 Xenon-Ms left. This means on average 15 Gladiuses were lost on average, and 7.33 Xenon-Ms were destroyed. In the MK1 plasma cannon test, the Gladius test fleet saw no ground and was totally annihilated in each test. And only in one test they could destroy at least 2 Xenon-Ms, while in the other two none. This leads to a total credit loss of 1.5 million in the MK2 plasma cannon Gladius fleet per destroyed Xenon-M, and 50.7 million for the MK1s. In case you wonder now why 15.7 million, because it's larger than the total fleet cost, that's because the destroyed Xenon-Ms are still greater than 0 but less than 1 on average. And accordingly, dividing a number by 1 that is between 0 and 1 increases the number. Although the 1.5 million should be taken carefully, because this could have been due to an extreme scenario with a lot of luck included. So yeah, using plasma cannons in high tension mode in fighter vs fighter combat is overall not a good choice. While the bolt repeater showed large swings in the test results in high tension mode, both pulse laser variants convinced with very stable results. With both variants, the Gladius fleets could destroy all 16 Xenon-Ms in each test. In the MK1 test, 7 Gladiuses were lost on average, and in the MK2 test, 5. This means that the pulse laser shows even better results than the beam emitter MK2 in this test. with average losses per destroyed C&M around 250,000 against 340,000. This makes the Pulse Laser MK2, in my opinion, the most well-rounded weapon in this test scenario so far. It shows reliable results in both modes by beating the 16 C&Ms with low casualties. The only critic I have here is that the killing speed in low attention mode with close to 10 minutes is still borderline. Now let's move to the second part, where I tested equally expensive Gladius fleets with the plasma cannon and pulse laser variants. Because of the lower prices of the MK1 plasma cannons and pulse lasers than the beam emitter MK1, this time the fleet sizes increased to 20 Gladiuses for these two weapons. The fleet with MK2 plasma cannons is reduced to 15 and the one with MK2 pulse lasers to 13. The changed fleet sizes didn't change much for the plasma cannons. Here still one Gladius in each try was lost for both variants. Because of the increased fleet size, the killing speed increased from 319 to 234 seconds for the MK1 variant and decreased from 143 to 170 seconds on average for the MK2 variant. With this, they are nearly in line with the Blast Mortar in this scenario, but still the Blast Mortar MK2 has a slightly edge over the plasma cannon here. In the Pulse Laser MK1 test, the average lost Gladiuses stayed with 1.67 against 2, the same as well as the destroyed C&Ms with 4 against 3.67, so the additional Gladius didn't have much of an impact here. In the Pulse Laser MK2 test, also still 2 Gladiuses were lost, but here only 9.33 of the previous 13 C&Ms on average were destroyed. Accordingly, the average loss per destroyed C&M increased to 180,000 credits. In high tension mode, the extra MK1 plasma cannon Gladius had maybe an impact, or maybe not. The destroyed C&Ms in each test with a range of 13 to 15 are still around the range of the previous test with 16 to 14. Because still more C&Ms on average were destroyed, but still the whole Gladius fleet was lost, the average lost value per destroyed C&M decreased to still 5.5 million credits. The plasma cannon MK2 fleet, accordingly, due to the reduced fleet size, stood no change at all. And so in each try, all 15 Gladiuses were lost. On average, they destroyed 0.67 C&M, leading to a total loss of 16.7 million on average per destroyed C&M. In the MK1 pulse laser test, in high tension, although the additional Gladius showed not much of an impact on the results. Expected would be better results. Instead, although here the results slightly worsen, with 294,000 credits lost per destroyed C&M due to one test where things must have gone pretty bad. For the 20 Gladiuses, where only 7 survived. So on average, 8.33 Gladiuses were lost and all 16 C&Ms were destroyed. Due to the reduced fleet size, the MK2 Pulse Laser Gladius fleet could only beat the 16 C&Ms in one test where 7 survived. In the other two tests, none survived, but 2 and 9 C&Ms did. Accordingly, 735,000 credits were lost in this test per destroyed C&M. By comparing all test results so far, we see that the Blast Mortar MK2 for both scenarios with equally sized fleets as well as equally expensive fleets is still slightly ahead of the here tested plasma cannons MK1 and MK2 due to the slightly faster killing speed. In high tension mode, the here tested pulse laser MK1 shows the least value lost per destroyed C&M. Even though more ships were lost on average than in the beam emitter MK2 and pulse laser MK2 tests for equally sized fleets. But because of its low price, the MK1 pulse laser compensates for it. So accordingly, I would say that in high tension mode, the pulse laser MK1 is so far from the tested small weapons the most solid choice in fighter versus fighter combat. Overall, the pulse laser MK1 and MK2 can be used in both modes, even though their killing speeds are a bit slow in low tension mode. To speed up things, like shown in my first video with the beam emitter, the pulse laser can be mixed with a few ships with blast mortars or plasma cannons equipped to speed things up a little bit. I hope you found the results interesting. If so, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for future content. With this, I'm at the end, and I wish you a nice day.